Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Bachelor Live. Last night's episode of The Bachelor was messier than ever. A kid's birthday party gone wrong, Shanae calling out Elizabeth for her ADHD, and Cassidy getting confronted about a man back home. We have so much to get into, and as always, I am your host, Zachary Reality, joined by Morgan Wright and special guest Kelly Johns. Morgan, Kelly, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great, Zach. Thank you. Excited to get into all of this drama. I feel like it's been so long since we've had The Bachelor with the group of girls, and I just feel like the drama is over the top this season, but I'm enjoying it so far, so can't complain. Kelly, how are you?
Great. As you can see, I'm repping my dogs. They won last night, and my two worlds collided. We had Jesse Palmer on The Bachelor hosting, and then we had him also at the football game. So he was on both shows at the same time. Crazy. And both of my loves, Bachelor, my Bulldogs. So great night overall.
Yes, and we're so happy to welcome you to the show, Kelly. I know you are a Bachelor
Thank you.
expert, so I am expecting a lot of opinions from you on today's live because, I mean, last night's episode just got so messy in all of the wrong ways, and we have to get into all of it. But before we do that, make sure you guys listening are subscribed to our channel and ring the bell so you never miss out on any future videos. And leave your comments in the live chat. We have a live chat open right now, so if you guys have any comments, questions, or opinions that you want to share, we will be getting to those and reading those at the end of the live. But let's just kind of kick things off because there's so much to break down, starting off with the group date hosted by Hillary Duff. This is quite literally what dreams are made of. Clayton invited a handful of the ladies to participate in setting up a kid's birthday party, but one of the girls, that goes by Cassidy, had another agenda in mind. I mean, Hillary Duff was also my first concert. Kelly, I'm curious, do you think that Cassidy was more excited to see Hillary or Clayton?
To be honest, I think we were all more excited about Hillary. We all grew up with her. She's Lizzie McGuire. So I think Clayton was coming in a close second there. But I think Cassidy really was just focused on getting attention the whole time. Let's be real.
Yeah, and regardless if it was from Hillary Duff or Clayton, she really just wanted to make her mark, and I think she absolutely did that. And the whole premise of this group date was to set up for Maya's birthday party. One of the girls, a bunch of the kids, and the girls all got stationed. So Melina's job was to be the entertainment. Genevieve worked on the cake. Gabby and Cassidy were assigned to build the dollhouse, but Cassidy was nowhere to be found. Instead of helping Gabby, Cassidy pulled Clayton away multiple times to try and make out with Clayton by the pool. Morgan, do we think this was a good move that she was trying to, like, make a connection right off the bat, or was it a little too aggressive?
I mean, it's definitely not my style. I'm not going to be that aggressive with any guy, period. But I feel like it's just her personality is aggressive. Would I have done the same thing in those circumstances? Absolutely not. I would have been over there helping Gabby build whatever it was that she was building. But
The
I mean, I think we
dollhouse.
all know that Cassidy is emerging as a seasoned villain and she's understanding that assignment very well.
Yeah, she's definitely rubbing a lot of the girls the wrong way. And I also feel like she rubbed Hillary Duff the wrong way. We saw in Hillary Duff's confessional, like, she kind of gave that little shady remark. Kelly, what did you kind of think of that moment? Were you living?
I was living because it was like Hillary is thinking what we're all thinking, and she was there, and we're just seeing, the edited version of it. So to know that Hillary was also feeling what we're feeling, I felt validated.
Yeah, I mean, it was just too much for Cassidy. Like, I understand she wanted to get that time, but like, even the way she was kissing him, did you guys notice she was just trying to like jump on top of him? I'm surprised that they didn't go in the pool and like get all into it. Kelly, do you think that Clayton was into it, or do you think it's just his job as the Bachelor to make out with everyone that makes a move on him?
I mean, at this point, he seems to be having a connection with every girl. I think he's just like trying to feel it out with everyone. So if a girl is just going to forcefully make out with him, he's like, okay, let's go with it. I don't think he was super into it though. I think he's trying to tell himself like, ooh, there's a girl who's like super confident. But is it confidence or is it just kind of like putting on a show and just kind of giving this like, I don't want to say fake confidence, but kind of a front?
Yeah, and we'll kind of get into that a little later at the rose ceremony because Cassidy may or may not have someone else back at home. She might have ulterior motives, but she low-key did ruin the kids' birthday party. I mean, she wasn't super nice to the kids, and then on top of that, she kind of maybe threw the cake on the ground. I don't know if that was on purpose or not. I also don't know if the dollhouse was ever truly built. I mean, we know Gabby could not have done that by herself. And a lot of the girls were really rubbed the wrong way, and they confronted Cassidy about it during the night portion of the group date. Many of the girls felt like Cassidy didn't pull her weight, especially Genevieve in particular, because she spends so much time putting that cake together with the icing, decorating it. And Cassidy's response to all the girls, and this is where she really doubles down, is that she wasn't getting paid to build a dollhouse. She wasn't there to impress the kids, and she's here to build a connection with Clayton. Morgan, how do we feel about that and her response to the girls coming at her?
Okay, well, to kind of quote what she said, she's not getting paid to build the dollhouse. Okay, but you are here to be on a group date. Like, this isn't a one-on-one date. So you can't just take him for however many minutes, 30 minutes or whatever, and expect other people that are on the group date not to get upset. And I mean, if Clayton wanted a one-on-one with Cassidy, he would have given her the one-on-one date card. He didn't want that. I also feel like, kind of going back to what Kelly said about her being very forward, I guess, with him. Look, just because you make out with him twice does not mean anything. He's looking for a wife. He's not looking for somebody to make out with him. You know what I mean? So I'm just overall not impressed with Cassidy after this episode. I feel like she should have participated in the group date a lot more.
Oh, 100%. I thought it was honestly obnoxious how she was kind of acting throughout the entire group date. And we know editing and like background music gets involved, but it definitely felt like she didn't care about the kids and about like the premise of why they're there. The getting paid comment really rubbed me the wrong way because like you're part of a TV show, you're all there to participate. So I'm not really sure why she couldn't just go along with the flow. Kelly, do we think she threw the cake on the floor on purpose, or do we think that it was an accident?
I mean, with this show and all that we know about it, what are the chances that it was a true accident, you know? I feel like it was the perfect little mess up to cause drama, to cause Genevieve to be mad that she messed up her cake and even kind of took it upon herself to present it in the first place when she had nothing to do with making it or designing it, decorating it with all the icing. So I think that maybe producers kind of whispered, hey, that'll be cute, and maybe kind of trick her into doing it. But it just spiraled into more drama as always, but we love to see it. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the producers probably told Cassidy to like bring the cake, and then there was this clip Cassidy posted to her Instagram story about one of the kids kind of like knocking into her, which is why the cake fell on the grass. But it's like justice for the cake, justice for Maya. I mean, Kelly, do you think her birthday was ruined, or do you think this was the best birthday of her life?
I wonder if it was even Maya's birthday. You know what I mean? But I
Oh, that's
think
a
if
good
it
point.
was, if it was, I think it was the best for her life because it was on TV and she was with, I don't know if she understands how big of a deal Hillary Duff is. So I don't know
She might.
if right, it would be the best birthday of my life if Lizzie McGuire showed up. So, but regardless,
Yeah.
it was like a huge bounce house, food, you're on TV. So, hey, I'd say it's the best.
Yeah, it's Maya, take it or leave it. You had a great birthday party and you get to watch it back and laugh. And we saw at the night portion of the group date, Clayton really, forwarded his connection with Serene and Cassidy, but ultimately he ended up deciding to give the group date rose to Cassidy, which was kind of shocking and then kind of not because this is The Bachelor. Morgan, how did you feel about that? Do you feel like Serene should have got it, or do you think Cassidy put the most effort in and that's why he gave it to her?
Serene definitely should have gotten that group date rose. I mean, she's stunning, she's mature. You could really see that they had a mature conversation, they connected. I'm going to be honest, and I'm like a little bit with you, Kelly, on how much of this is actually genuine and authentic. I think Clayton is eating out of producers' hands. I think that they planted the seed. You should give the rose to Cassidy. And I think that he went along with it. You cannot tell me that out of 10 girls on this group date, the one girl that is being painted as the villain is going to end up with the group date rose because Clayton has that big of a connection with her. I just don't buy it at all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
agree for
kind of agree
sure.
with that as well. I feel like Clayton was picked to be the Bachelor because he's willing to do whatever producers say. Because last year on The Bachelor, Matt James like totally did not get engaged, and I feel like producers want an engagement. A couple years ago, Colton didn't get engaged. I feel like they're really looking for a Bachelor that is just going to like do what is told of them and just like follow all of the protocol. So yeah, I'm not even surprised either that Cassidy got the group date. And I mean, we're gonna have to talk a little bit about her towards the end of the live because it got even messier. But as we continue on to the next date, I want to remind everyone, if you are new here, make sure to leave your comments and questions and your opinions in the live chat we got going on right now because we will be reading those at the end of the live. And moving on to the first one-on-one date of the season, it went to Susie. Susie is a beauty queen with a passion for adventure. She's a wedding videographer as well as a fitness coach and a jiu-jitsu champion and former pageant girl. Kelly, what did you think of Susie getting the first one-on-one date of this season?
I think she was the perfect fit for it. You kind of have to fit that mold to get that first date. I think she's comfortable on camera because of her background in pageants, in videography. So she fits that mold. I think she's bubbly and fun, kind of a safe pick because Clayton knew he would have fun with her, even if they didn't build a connection. I think they do have chemistry. I think there's an attraction. I don't know how deep that's going to go. I wasn't like being pulled at my heartstrings, like feeling like they had something that was going to turn into love. But I think also the girls found it obvious that Susie was going to get the first pick because they cut to Shanae and Cassidy and she's like, guess who got it? She said, Susie. It's like, how did they know? So there must just be kind of like an overall sense that she's already a front runner.
And what does it say, Kelly, about contestants that get the first, one-on-one date of the season? Is that like the typical, like you're going all the way? Is that like final four? Like how has that kind of worked in seasons past?
Well, good question because I actually just saw the data on that from Bachelor Data. So if you guys don't
Uh-huh.
follow them, great account on Instagram. And she posted that basically everyone who gets that first date goes pretty far. So, like, top five, like making it not always the winner, obviously, but making it really far, sometimes to hometowns. Always kind of a front runner overall.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to expect to see a lot more of Susie throughout the rest of the season. Even though she did open up a lot on the one-on-one date, I don't know, she kind of bored me a little bit. I found myself not super interested in like her connection with Clayton. It just was a very vanilla date overall. So I don't really want to sit here and say that she's my favorite because then I'd be lying, but I definitely think
Mhm.
she's sweet and someone that Clayton is interested in. And at the night portion of the one-on-one date, Susie opened up to Clayton about her dad being sick and not knowing if he would be around to hold her future child, if, grandfather for the dad. And Clayton ended up giving her the rose and they danced the night away to country singer Amanda Gordon. Morgan, what did you make of that date and their conversation? Do we think they're pretty solid? And like, I mean, why do we think they picked Susie? Do you think they like to pick the sob story? Because it seems like on one-on-one dates, they usually, pick whoever has the most heart-wrenching story.
Yeah, well, I will say, and I've seen this comparison a lot floating around the internet today, is that Clayton and Susie remind a lot of people of Colton and Hannah Brown. Now, Susie and Hannah to me are very similar in the fact that they look the same. They're both pageant girls. At least Susie didn't like freeze up and was unable to give a toast like our dear Hannah B struggled to on her group date with Colton. But I did like Susie. I think, like you said, early on in the episodes, I think that it's really hard to get to know the girls as well as we do in the end because there's so many of them. And it's like, in the first couple episodes, they really focus on the drama in the house, the drama between the girls, and we don't really get to know, individually the girls as much as we do when it comes to like final five, final four. And of course, that comes with like hometowns and stuff like that. The one thing, and this is funny, I was thinking about during their date is that, Susie does go into this emotional moment about her father and his health issues. And I thought to myself, does Clayton even know her last name? You know what I mean? Like they're having these serious heart to heart conversations and it's their very first date. And I'm like, I wonder if he even knows what Susie's last name is. And meanwhile, Susie is like pouring out her life story to him. So I don't know. I think she'll go far just because she's cute, she's bubbly, she's like Bachelor Nation to a T. But I don't know if she'll win.
I don't think she's gonna win. I didn't see like a strong spark or connection between them. And like obviously like we have sympathy for what Susie has been through with her dad. It's definitely like we wish the best for her and for him, but I just don't see a connection between them for the long haul. I don't even know if she's like actually gonna make final four. Like yeah, she got the first one on one day and like statistically that shows, but I just feel like Clayton wants somebody with a little bit more push and pull, and it just feels like she is just too sweet. Kelly, what are your overall thoughts on the date and Susie and what you see for her in the future of Bachelor?
Just have to point out that not only does she look like Hannah Brown, but also Debbie Ryan, the actress, like spitting image.
Yes.
Just had to say that. I think that she's gonna have a good Bachelor career, even if she doesn't go super far on the show. Like you said, I don't think she'll make it to hometowns because I agree with you. I'm not seeing this deep connection. And of course, it's just the first date, so it could grow. Could kind of be like a Catherine and Sean Lowe type situation where we didn't
True.
see much early on and now they're like the most successful couple of Bachelor Nation. So hey, maybe we'll be surprised. But I think that maybe she'll go to Paradise. I think that she has that look where she's going to be a very successful influencer. She's very likable, so
Mhm.
she'll be successful regardless.
Yeah, and Bachelor Nation loves a pageant girl, so we'll definitely be
Hmm.
seeing more of Susie. Morgan, do you have anyone in mind you would ship her with in Paradise from like Michelle or Katie's season off the top of your head?
Ooh, that's a good question. Michelle or Katie's season. When you asked me this, the first person I actually thought of was not from those seasons, but Claire and
Oh.
Tasha, Ben Smith. I could see
Oh.
Ooh.
her and Ben Smith together. I think they would be very cute.
Okay, well, you heard it here first. So if this happens in Paradise, you heard it here first. Morgan put her 2 cents on that. Moving on to the second group date of the week, which I loved. I felt like, I mean, the group dates this week were just really fun. Both of them had so much drama and just so much going on. So it was really enjoyable, a lot of comedy. Clayton took the girls to a red flag course hosted by comedian Z-Way. The class was immediately put into session when the girls were asked a series of questions of never have I ever, and jealousy was immediately sparked between Shanae, or Shanae, and Elizabeth. Shanae didn't sit next to Clayton, and Elizabeth did, and I think that's kind of what started this feud, is that Shanae was kind of jealous that Elizabeth was getting all of this, like, individual attention from Clayton, and she kind of handled it pretty well during, like, the class part, because she got up, she did her Shanae, and then things kind of took a turn. Kelly, what did you make of this date and Z-Way and the whole, like, classroom session situation?
Feel like we've seen it a lot lately, but it's okay. It's always fun. Z-Way was super fun. She totally played into that character of like, you guys sit down and listen. So entertaining. Um, I liked the questions. I feel like we have definitely had the topic of like sex and stuff all the time on the seasons. We haven't had this exact game of the never have I ever holding up the little wooden panels. So it was fun to see Clayton play with them too, because sometimes we see only the contestants doing the group date and then the lead just kind of sitting there watching and laughing. So I liked that he was involved in it and we got to see that like he pulled up his sign and said that he has sent nudes before, but that he's never faked an orgasm. And then the girls said, yes, they have. And so they joked about that. So that was fun, like banter between them. And then when we get to the obstacle course, we haven't touched on that yet, but I thought that part was really fun.
Well, which date would you rather have been on, Kelly? The obstacle course or the Hillary Duff dollhouse building date, kids party?
Oh, that's hard because Hillary is so great. But I think that the obstacle course was more fun, like running and getting
Yeah.
dirty and kind of competition mode. Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely, it got pretty messy. I'd probably want to be on that one too because I'm really competitive. And the dollhouse date or the kid's birthday party date, I don't know. It would have been hard for me as well. So I understand Cassidy. Okay, well, the competition heated up with the girls when they continued to compete in a relay race with for some extra time with Clayton. They had to chug milk, which seems literally like the hardest thing ever. Hop across slippery paint, and whoever came out victorious would end up with extra time with Clayton. The tension between Shanae and Elizabeth continued as Shanae shoved Elizabeth to the ground while trying to get ahead in the race, but it didn't end up mattering because Sarah ended up scoring the win and coming out on top. Morgan, what did you make of this shove? Did you feel like Elizabeth made a bigger deal out of this, or was Shanae being too aggressive?
Yeah, I mean, I think Shanae was being too aggressive. Anytime you have to physically put your hands on anybody else, I don't care if it's a light dusting of a push. Like, don't touch me. You know what I mean? Like, I would be upset about that, especially, in this group setting. It's a competition. So it's like you're purposely trying to sabotage me specifically. And it's like, just respect my space. It's really not that difficult of a thing to do. So, you know, I'm sure we will get more into Shanae and her downfall, but that definitely was a huge red flag when I saw it first.
See, I'm not really that mad about the push. I don't think it was that hard of a push, and I think that's what you do in sports. If you're competing, you see that in basketball, football, hockey, like you can shove someone a little bit if you're trying to get ahead. So I'm not that mad about it. I feel like Elizabeth made a bigger deal out of it, but I'm not a female, so I don't know if that matters. Kelly, what did you make of the push?
I just thought it was unnecessary. And I think she was totally doing it to just Elizabeth because she already had this issue with her, which was rooted in nothingness. So for her, and when they did like a replay of it, it did look to me that she even kind of like put her arms around her and maybe even pulled her up a little bit and then went to slam her. So I think it was a big deal. And I just think she could have just run past her or just, as she was running, maybe just bumped into her with her shoulder. But she like went for it and like used her arms and like made the decision like I'm going to shove this person down versus just like a little bump.
Okay, that's a fair point. So we'll have to get a little slow motion replay on that to see how serious it was if the refs are calling it. And later at the night in the portion of the group date, the drama continued between Shanae and Elizabeth. Shanae told Clayton that she believed Elizabeth was being two-faced, and Clayton confronted Elizabeth about what Shanae said. It got back to Elizabeth, and then the two of them were able to have a conversation. Elizabeth explained to Shanae that she had ADHD, and that's why she might have been unable to process Shanae, but Shanae felt that Elizabeth's energy was just off and two-faced. I mean, let's kind of just go down the line here. Morgan, you start, and then Kelly, what did you guys kind of make of the fight and the ADHD? Like, what is kind of just your perspective on the whole situation and how it went down?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Shanae had the opportunity to, really just brush this off and she chose not to. You know what I mean? Like, even after Elizabeth had given her side of the story, like me as someone, I mean, I don't consider myself to be a very dramatic person. If that would have been the answer that I got from
I
somebody,
do.
if I came up to somebody and said, like, you were ignoring me or whatever, and that's what they said, I would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that I interpreted that the wrong way. I hope that we can move on and I'll be mindful of that in the future. But that's not what Shanae did. She actually did quite the opposite of that. So I feel like, in those moments, you do have a choice on how you want to react. And I think the way that you react is very telling. And in my opinion, the way Shanae reacted was not very good.
Yeah, I completely
Yeah.
agree. She had a choice to either make it a huge deal or to just be like, "Hey girl, like I noticed you weren't really looking at me. Like next time we chat, can we like work on that or something?" But it just was mind blowing because I would literally never, if I was just talking to two girls and I noticed that one of them wasn't looking at me a whole lot, I don't think I would even like
Yeah.
take note of that. So the fact that she was like so pissed about it and went and thought it was a good idea and that it was a red flag to tell Clayton was just absurd. Like, I think I know every season we see ridiculous stuff, but that was truly like nothing. And then she just took that and built upon it. And then every single thing Elizabeth does from now on, she's like, oh my God, she's so mean to me. She's so fake. And I'm like, she's literally doing nothing. And Elizabeth was the bigger person, in my opinion, because she could have gotten mad about it too and been like, are you kidding me? What are you talking about? But she was like, I'm so sorry you feel that way. I'd like to explain to you why maybe I was having an issue looking and hearing, multiple things at once because I have ADHD. And she was so sincere and like courageous to talk about that. And then for Shanae to just basically make fun of her a lot about that, just overall really mean for Shanae to do.
Yeah, I mean, there really is no defending Shanae here, and I love myself a villain. I really like Shanae, but there truly is just no way to kind of justify the fact that she was picking a fight with Elizabeth, and I don't even think it was necessary for Shanae to tell Clayton about Elizabeth being quote-unquote two-faced. Like, what's the point of, like, bringing that up? Maybe the producers told her to, maybe she, because,
Mm-hmm.
all these girls, they're on TV for the first time, it's the first week, like, they're gonna do whatever producers tell them to do. So maybe the producers are orchestrating this drama between Shanae and Elizabeth, and they're just, like, thinking that this is gonna get them airtime, and that they're just, like, doing what they're supposed to do, because it's kind of a job to be on The Bachelor. I mean, you're on a TV show, maybe you're not getting paid directly like Cassidy wants to, but, like, it's still, like, you're here to do a certain thing. So maybe they're going with the flow, but I still didn't think it was necessary for Shanae to keep, like, going out Elizabeth, especially when she was trying to be mature and just, like, squash this beef over and over again. Maybe Elizabeth was being annoying behind the scenes because there's nothing worse than someone annoying, but it just didn't come across good for Shanae on camera. And the ADHD comments, I mean, I don't know what she was thinking. It's not something that everyone just has that you could just kind of throw around. I feel like it's just not cool to mock someone else's, I don't know if you want to call it a mental illness, but it's just not cool to kind of mock someone's, situation. So I didn't really appreciate that of Shanae. Morgan, how bad do you think it got with the ADHD comments? Do you think Shanae really crossed the line, or do you think that there maybe was editing involved?
No, I mean, I think one time is too many times for Shanae to be bringing up something somebody else deals with, especially the way, at the end when she was I remember the specific scene, she's walking away and she is like mocking it, saying like, oh yeah, it's her ADHD. And it's like, in that moment, I'm just like, screw you. Like, why are you being so mean? And you could say that it was editing, but at the end of the day, she said it multiple times. So it doesn't necessarily, to me, even matter. Like, if it was taken out of context, because she said it so many times that it can't be taken out of context. Does that make sense? She kept hammering on
Yeah.
it over and over and over again. She said it at least 10 times. So it's like, at that point, you shouldn't even have brought it up ever. And the fact that you're bringing it up so much just proves to me that you are a mean girl.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
just want to point out too that she then took it upon herself to say, oh, well, then I have ADHD too. I have it too. And it's
yeah.
like, no, that's like you are diagnosed by a doctor. Like, I mean, maybe she does, but I don't think if she really did, she would say it in that way. It sounded like she was just joking about it and being like, yeah, whatever, it's not a big deal. Like, we all have it. I have it too. But it's a serious thing that you don't just like say you have to everyone.
No, I agree. And it is really serious, but I'm laughing because it's just like the way Shanae like thought that she was like being like, well, I have ADHD and you have ADHD and we all have it. Like
Right.
it was like, Shanae, no, no, no. I mean, it's not like anxiety, which we all actually do have, but it just
Right.
really got bad for her. And she didn't end up getting the group date rose because the group date rose ended up going to Sarah, who won the competition. And Sarah definitely became one of the front runners, I think, this week. I think some of the other connections he was able to further, as seen at the rose ceremony as well, were Teddy, obviously Susie, Sarah, Serene, and Gabby. I have those as my top 5 right now. Kelly, what do you think about Sarah? Do you think she is one of the top front runners? If not, who is your pick for the week?
I think she might be my pick for the week because we didn't see a whole lot of her, but I like that. She has that quiet confidence where she's not throwing herself at Clayton. And I think those types of girls get the most screen time, right? Because they're the most dramatic and entertaining. But I like these characters like Sarah. I call them characters. I know they're real people. I like Sarah because she does seem genuine. Another, keyword for Bachelor. Genuine. Are you genuine and sincere? But I like her.
Mhm.
I think that they do have actually a connection, even though he's saying that about everyone. But I like their little moments together.
Everyone.
I like that she won the competition. Like we wouldn't expect her to because there were some other maybe more athletic girls in the crowd. But I like her a lot. I think she'll go far.
Yeah, Morgan, who was one of your favorites of the week or one of the front runners you think? Because we got to know a few of the girls this week.
I really like Serene, and I wish that we would have saw more of her. I wish she would have got the group date rose, but I feel like she just has that calm nature to her, and I feel like her personality type in the show is like wife material. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
you don't
Yeah.
worry about her being dramatic or getting wrapped up in the drama of the house. And she's, very smart. She's independent, but she's looking for that next step in life. So I feel like, in my opinion, I think she's going to make top 4.
Yeah, she's definitely in it. One of the girls I really liked this week was Kate. She wore a red dress at the rose ceremony. She is works at the Oppenheim group, which like I'm a huge Selling Sunset fan, so I love that for her. But I felt like when the girls were having the conversation about the ADHD later at the rose ceremony or the night portion, whatever, Kate was really trying to like step in and like tell Shanae it's not okay. You need to stop. If you're going to apologize, apologize and don't make it a but. And I really like that she stepped in. And it seemed like a lot of the girls were kind of coming in at Shanae. Kelly, do you think Shanae has become the group villain, or do we think Cassidy is kind of the group villain? Who do you think is worse?
I think Shanae is worse because we did get to see towards the end that we see that Shanae and Cassidy are buddy buddy, and Cassidy was kind of giving her the advice to begin with of be bold, be aggressive, go for Clayton. Who
Hmm.
cares about all the girls? But then once she starts kind of bullying um, Elizabeth, we see Cassidy kind of take Elizabeth's side and kind of side with all the rest of the women and
Mm-hmm.
say to Shanae, like, that was too far. Like, I don't agree with what you're doing. So to me, that shows that Cassidy does have like a nice side and doesn't want to completely be the full villain. And I think that Shanae not backing down from that is giving her the top villain spot.
Yeah, and it's a tough spot to get, Shanae, so you earned it.
Hmm.
So we'll have to see what you do with that in the coming weeks, because she's definitely going to make it, I think, another week or two. And before the episode wrapped up, because we did not get a rose ceremony, things for Cassidy actually got even worse. So maybe we are going to have to retract that statement, Kelly, because there was
Yeah.
a scene shown which was not supposed to be on TV. It was kind of like a behind the scene moment of Cassidy telling Sierra about a guy she was talking to back at home, someone who she was FaceTiming right before she left, someone she was hooking up with on and off. And Sierra went up to Clayton at the rose ceremony and told him about Cassidy's on and off again possible boyfriend. We saw a scene at the end of Clayton asking Jesse if a bachelor has ever taken a rose back before. Clayton was about to go confront Cassidy. Then the episode ended, and we didn't get the rose ceremony, as I mentioned. Morgan, what do we make of this whole situation?
Oh, I mean, it's hard. And I know we're going to get into the double standard with Sally
Let's
here
get
in a
into
second
it.
because you want to do it now. Let's do it. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
she even said in this video, she put out this video saying like, why is Sally getting a rose when she was about to be married, but I had a friends with benefits and I'm going to get my rose taken away. And I feel like, that is a valid point. And I think what it boils down to is are you ready to be married? Right? If you have a friends with benefits that you're FaceTiming in the hotel while you're quarantining to be on this show, are you ready to be married? I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe, probably not. If you're supposed to get married that weekend and you're still having all this like emotional response, are you ready to be married to somebody else? I think the answer is no. So I do think there was a bit of a double standard on Clayton's reaction to both. But I think that, it's the girls who came on the show in that emotional state that's the issue.
Yeah, and we have a clip of Cassidy going a little haywire, which we're gonna show in just a minute or two. But it seems like, I'm not mad at Cassidy for having like an F buddy at home. I think a lot of us have F buddies that we have no intention of ever dating or marrying, and it really is just for like pleasure and fun. So I'm not mad at her for that, but I think just the way she shouldn't have brought it up on TV in general, especially on The Bachelor, especially after watching Brendan and Piper, what they went through this summer. Like, you are always being recorded. Even when you think you're not being recorded, you need to always have your guard up on this show, and you can't trust anyone, no matter how close you get with the producers or the girls. So I think Cassidy just really let her guard down the entire episode, or since she's been there. And I feel like she should have never brought this guy up. And I don't think she cares about this guy. I don't think she's really dating this guy, but I just think it wasn't good to bring it up. Kelly, what did you make of the whole situation? And what do you think Clayton's going to do on next week's episode?
I think from the teasers, I think he's going to send her home because I think producers are going to love that he's going to take the rose back because we haven't seen that before. But I do agree that it's a
Mm-hmm.
double standard because it's clear that Sally wasn't ready. That was one of the craziest things we've ever seen, just pointless. I think with Cassidy, I agree with you. I'm not mad that she had kind of a guy before. They weren't dating. It doesn't seem like it was serious from the way she talked about it. So I don't think there's anything wrong with her having a fling. However, does that make her ready to be married? I don't think so. I agree with Morgan on that too. But again, how many of these girls are actually ready? And also, I want to point in there, how do you know when you're ever like super ready? I mean, I am married. I'm so happy my husband is the greatest. But when I met him, I wasn't ready. You know what I mean? Which it's different because I wasn't on The Bachelor. But I also think it's like you never know when you're going to meet your person. So, do I think Cassidy is his person? No. But I think you could have a fling at home and then all of a sudden be introduced to your person. And then that kind of shifts your lifestyle. And then you're ready to kind of move faster and become more serious. So I think that could be the case for certain girls that come on the show, kind of going into it for fun and then being like, oh, wow, this is actually serious. And I am
Mm-hmm.
like developing real feelings. But again, I don't think that Cassidy is the real deal.
Yeah, and she really just kind of let it all out there, and she's been getting a lot of backlash and heat on social media of this resurfaced clip. It came straight from Reality Steve's Twitter. We're gonna show this clip. Maybe you guys have seen it, maybe you have not, but Cassidy is completely unhinged and kind of revealing all about her time on The Bachelor. So we're gonna get this loaded up and we're gonna show it and then react. It's not looking good for Cassidy right now, but she seems to kind of being having fun with this whole thing. She's kind of trolling the trolls on social media, which I do kind of appreciate as well. So let's show this clip of Cassidy unhinged because it's kind of a little. So we're having a little difficulty with the clip loading. Morgan, do you want to kind of explain what happened in this clip? And I'm more than happy to help explain as well.
Yeah, you'll have to because I actually just briefly saw it on your TikTok. But basically, she was saying
Okay.
the point that I was making, and I didn't come up with the point. She came up with the point, right? Like it's a bit of a double standard for you to give Sally a rose when she was supposed to be getting married that day, but you are going to send me home. She does say that she ends up going home because of this friends with benefits back home.
Yeah, and it was kind of like a longer clip where she also kind of discussed being excited to be on national television, and she was just kind of being really sassy. I don't know if she was drunk while she was making the video. She also said like she was referred it to the fact that she's going to be an influencer and that she's entertaining. Kelly, did you watch the whole video? And what are your thoughts on Cassidy on social media?
Yeah, I just saw it and I thought that she was overly harsh, just kind of like her like attitude on the show is just like very forward and too much. But this was taking it even to the next level. She was like, F you, Clayton. She said the whole thing and was just
Yeah.
like very angry. And I'm like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. Like, you need to calm down. And she gives me Demi energy, but even more. I think Demi has always been pretty likable, and she has come out and kind of said that that attitude and that energy that she brought on the show was kind of like a cover up for insecurities. So I'm getting that feeling from Cassidy as well, that this isn't like her true self, which rarely is for people, right? If they, a lot of people that have kind of this brashness, it's really kind of like covering up something kind of deeper. So, not that I'm a psychologist or anything, but I just wonder, is this really Cassidy or is she kind of dealing with something?
Yeah, it's definitely getting messy, and we've seen a lot of the girls on social media kind of shade Cassidy as well as Shanae. It doesn't seem like they were very likable in the house, and I'm sure we'll, see this more unravel throughout social media as well as on the show. There is no episode of The Bachelor next week, so in 2 weeks, we'll see the rest of the story, which I can't wait to see what happens because I feel like Cassidy's gonna get her rose taken away as well. But we are going to give some predictions and we want to open it up to you guys. So if you guys have any questions, comments, opinions, now would be the time to share them with us in the live chat, and we'll be putting them on the screen right now and reading through them. I also want to remind you guys to follow us on Twitter at Shared News. We are always live tweeting the episodes every Monday night, and we have a lot of tweets that go viral thanks to our Twitter girl, Gabby, who you guys have seen on lives. So definitely head over there and tweet us. And I mean, we're just going to start powering through. Morgan, while we're getting these questions up, what are some of your predictions for next or in 2 weeks and throughout the rest of the season?
Ooh, good question. I think soon we're going to get a pilot Rachel one-on-one with Clayton. I feel like they established her in the first episode. We didn't see a lot of her this episode, except for when she was jealous that Susie was, in the helicopter with Clayton. She's like, it should be me. I'm the pilot. But I just have a feeling that I think she's the winner. And I
Ooh.
don't know
Rachel.
what it is. I don't know what it is about her and Clayton, but I do like see this spark between the two of them. So I think very soon we're going to start to see their connection forming and getting deeper.
I like that. I like Rachel too. I think she's going to go pretty far and kind of sneak up on us. Kelly, who are some of your favorites and what do you think is going to happen? Do you have a top four already?
Oh, top four. I do agree with the Rachel. I think she's going far. That was kind of like an easy pick for me on night one because the connection didn't feel forced at all versus other girls who were just like, can I kiss you? And that just feels very forced. But we haven't talked about Teddy. And I think she's
Love
definitely a front
Teddy.
runner. She was the first impression rose. I think she's going to be top four for sure. I think Serene could make it. I think Rachel's going to be in there. And let's see, who could the fourth be? Maybe Sarah.
Ooh. Or Susie, I think. I mean, well, I just
Yeah.
said maybe not. But I like Teddy as well. I think she is one of my favorites. She did say to Clayton at the rose ceremony that she needs a lot of validation just because, I mean, it's hard when you like form a connection with someone and then you see them getting to know other girls. So I think Teddy's a safe choice to put up there. Serene, Gabby. We haven't
Gabby.
talked about her yet. I really like her a lot. I think she is going to go very far. Gabby is the one who previously dated Blake Kortzman and Dean Ungler, but she's also the one that keeps showing up with all of these pillows of Clayton's face that she wants to sit on. Morgan, what do you make of Gabby?
Yeah, I think she's goofy and silly, and we need that energy in the show, especially with all the drama. I like her. I feel like we haven't seen a deep connection between her and Clayton. I feel like right now it's mostly like playful, but it's still very, very early. So maybe this is like the beginning stages. They're starting to get flirty, and then that will lead into something deeper and stronger as the season progresses.
Yeah, and I think that kind of shows with like editing that sometimes the girls will sneak up on you a little bit, but it's also important to notice like who is getting those extra scenes because there's only so much airtime, especially in the beginning, and who are we seeing in the trailer and the teaser that is gonna get more airtime later on throughout the season. But overall, I think this season's gonna be really, really good, and there's gonna be a lot of drama. We actually have this Cassidy clip loaded, so we have to show it to you guys if you haven't been able to find it yet. So let's put it up. Here we go.
I love getting ready for dates nowadays because it's literally just me in the mirror like, oh, wait a second. If this man should be so fucking lucky. And then I remember that, wait a second, even though I'm about to be on national television, men still treat me like shit. But that's okay. That's all right because it is not for not fucking long. Anyways, I think I'm going to be a great influencer. I feel like I'm really entertaining. You're entertained, right? You'd buy anything I'm selling you, right? Even if it's complete. I think so. I don't answer that. It's yes. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Anyways, long story short, go ahead and get on national television. Men still won't give a fuck. And the clout chasers back in fucking DMs, oh, now you give a shit? Now you give a shit? Okay, all right. I've seen this. Anyways, I hope y'all have a good New Year's. I'm gonna be working and fucking God, honestly, because men are trash. Night. You know, the more I think about it, perhaps I was being a little bit hasty when I said all men are trash. I mean, all men are trash. No, all men are trash. I said what the fuck I said. Good night.
Oh my gosh, Cassidy. So a lot of people are probably wondering when was this posted? Well, she just wished us a happy new year. So I think this might have been posted on her Instagram story around December 29th or 30th. I wasn't following her back then, but Reality Steve always comes in clutch. He is the OG Bachelor expert before all of us probably were even born. Morgan and Kelly, let's go down the line. What do we make of this now that we've been able to kind of watch and digest the whole thing?
As our queen Tasha would say, it's a lot. Yes, like it is a lot. Cassidy and I would not be friends. You know, like we just do not have the same personality at all. Like you said earlier, Kelly, she seems very like brash. And I'm not about that. This is messy. This is petty. It's attention seeking. And I don't like any of those things.
Yeah, I agree. It's so unnecessary. It's so over the top. She's going out of her way to just create, again, like drama from nothing. It's like no one asked you. She's just generalizing like all men are trash. No, they're not. Just because you haven't met an awesome one yet doesn't mean you have to go and just freak out on everyone. I think she needs to take a chill pill.
It's just crazy because this was posted before the episode, like before she probably even knew what was going to be shown and the edit and everything. So I'm just like, I'm also confused why she would post this because it's like, of course, people have been watching her for months. As soon as the cast list was announced, before they even started filming, you know, Reality Steve and all these other Bachelor accounts like ourselves here on this panel are going to be watching you. So how did she not put two and two together that this was going to get picked up and turned around against her? We have a comment from Allison Johnson. Hey, Allison, dang, with the slanty face smiley face emoji. So we love that. Kelly, do we think Cassidy's gonna get in trouble with the franchise and the producers for this video? Or do we think that it's more just gonna be like social media backlash?
I don't know. I feel like there's probably something in their contracts that says they can't give away, what's coming up on the next episode. And she basically did because she told us that she's going home and that she gets her rose taken away. So that can't be allowed, right?
No, it definitely cannot be allowed. I don't know how strict the producers will be. We do know that they have sued people in the past, as like Luke P, for example, from Hannah Brown's season, who
Yeah.
did a lot of appearances and spilled some tea before the episodes. Natalie says Cassidy would be a great actress. I don't know about that. I think she is a great reality star, though. I just think that she went on the wrong show. Morgan, I would have liked to see her on Love Island or Temptate, like like an MTV type of show where her behavior and her attitude would probably blend in more, and not this
Yes.
Disney Channel ABC show. You know?
Yeah, I feel like you hit the nail on the head with that one. Maybe not a Disney princess anytime soon or a pageant queen, but she can make an episode, she can make an appearance on Jersey Shore. Who knows?
Yes. I want to see more of Cassidy. I want to see her on like a different reality show. I just don't think this was the one for her because I think she's fun. Yes, she definitely is coming across very obnoxious, but I think she kind of is a good time and there might be a little bit more to her than what we're seeing on this show and this whole situation. And maybe she was triggered or a little tipsy while making this video. Do we think we'll see her on Paradise, Kelly?
Yes, I think she's perfect for Paradise. She's going to stir up so much more. But I think that we might see a redemption story also because she's one of these people who like has this huge villain arc on their season and then comes to Paradise and perhaps we end up really liking her and maybe she apologizes and like explains where this behavior came from. So we can't shut her out yet. Maybe we'll grow to like her soon.
I mean, if she's going home next week, I don't know how much airtime she'll get in that exit, but you really never know. We've seen some iconic limo exits in the past, so it is
Mm-hmm.
possible. And we also know the Women Tell All gives everyone a chance to speak, so we'll definitely see her there. Jennifer says, I fell asleep for most of the episodes, so I didn't have to listen to a lot of them. Yeah, it was definitely a long episode, Jennifer. I'm glad that you are here so we can fill you in on what you may have missed. Because this is still unfolding, and Cassidy is having fun trolling the trolls on social media. Morgan, have you seen what's been going on social media? She basically put up an Instagram with the caption, "This is what it looks like when I'm not kissing Clayton," and it was a picture of him side by side on the pool. So she's having fun with this.
Yeah, I mean, good for her. Like I said before, I feel like she's just attention seeking at this point. And I have to disagree with Jennifer. I actually was very intrigued by this episode. I feel like it's been so long since we've had a Bachelor and the girl drama that I am just like living for this season because it's been over a year since we've had a Bachelor and girls back in the Bachelor mansion. Hello, that's a huge part of the show and it's finally back. So I have been and still am excited to watch each episode this season.
Yeah, I'm completely into the season. I love the girl drama. The only part where I was tuning out was the one-on-one date because sometimes that's how one-on-one dates are. But other than that, I'm like really invested. Kelly, how do we think this is ranking to the past few years? Do we think we have a lot of potential to make this a killer season?
I think there's a lot of different factors that come into play because I know a lot of Bachelor Nation is just exhausted right now with all of these back-to-back seasons because usually we get a break in the fall for multiple months and then we can start off our new year in January with a new Bachelor season. So I do really like this season. It is exciting that we're finally back to The Bachelor since we had Bachelorette back-to-back. I like having the new host with Jesse Palmer. That kind of gives it like an exciting new spice. And I really like
And the
all these girls.
travel.
Yeah, I think that they're really fun and it's fun now. I'm 28 and to see these girls who are like all around the same age as me, a lot of them are a lot younger, which is crazy. But it's so crazy to kind of like see like that could be me. And then in a few years, I'm going to be older than all these people. It's just crazy because I've grown up with it my whole life.
Yeah, Kelly's been watching since season one, guys. So she is
Yeah.
truly an
OG.
OG. I mean, I'm glad that we have next week off. I think a lot of people who wanted a week off, you got it. We do not have The Bachelor next week. So We're going to be back to recap it in 2 more weeks to do another live, but I'm sure we're going to do lots of Bachelor Nation coverage here on Shared News. So before you guys go, be sure to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and if you did miss the live stream and the live chat, feel free to leave your thoughts, opinions, questions in the comments down below, and we'll definitely go through those and read those later. That is everything we have to share with you guys, so we'll have to catch you in the next one. As always, I am your host, Zachary Reality, joined by Morgan Wright and special guest Kelly Johns. Our social media handles are on the screen right now, so be sure to give all of us a follow. We all do Bachelor content and coverage on our socials, and come over and say hello. Let us know you listen to the live, and thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.